What's up, everyone? Between the Dots here with you today. 20 games left left in the regular season. Things are heating up. Hopefully both the Sens and the Leafs can heat up as well. We're going to break down their past week for you right here, right now on Between the Dots. Let's go. Welcome everyone to Between the Dots. Last week we did our trade deadline special. If you hadn't had a chance to check that out, definitely go give it a look right now. This week we're going to be talking about the Sens and the Leafs, how they did this past week, how things have looked since the trade deadline, and maybe some of our takes on how things look heading into playoffs.
So yeah, I'm going to start with the Sens actually. They're making a push. They want to get into the playoffs.
They are hungry. They were on a 5-game win streak there for a bit, and then they dropped a really disappointing game to the Chicago Blackhawks on Monday night. But, they were riding high. They just acquired Chychrun, and now they're looking to keep that going and try to really push for playoffs. The problem with them is that they got a lot of teams they got to jump, and they just had Talbot go down with an injury. He's going to be out 3 weeks, so we'll see what kind of goaltending we get from the Sens over the next couple weeks. It's going to have to be, average at best if we want to make playoffs, and hopefully they can string together some wins, hop over Buffalo, hop Florida, and eventually, hopefully, pass Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh or the Islanders for that one of those final 2 wildcard spots.
Yeah, I saw the other night actually Buffalo played the New York Islanders. And I guess it's kind of a lose-lose for the Sens, eh? Like, who do you want to win that game?
Yeah, I'm just praying it doesn't go into overtime. My goodness. That would have been worst-case scenario.
Yeah, speaking of worst-case scenario, I was keeping updated on the scores of the games the other night. I'm looking, and I saw, okay, nice. The Blue Jackets are up 4-0 on Pittsburgh. Chalk that up for a Pittsburgh loss. And then, sure enough, I look an hour later and it's 4-3, and then Pittsburgh ends up winning in overtime.
Man, Columbus is awful for that. Like, you blow a 4-goal lead, that's brutal. And, I was hoping that's what Ottawa could have done to Chicago on Monday night, whatever it was, because Ottawa was so badly out-shooting Chicago that I was just hoping that maybe we could just slowly claw our way back, and it never happened. Ottawa got shut out that night. And, of course, Pittsburgh ends up coming back the other night, too, to get 2 points just to widen the gap a little bit.
Yeah, it's tough with those teams that you got to jump, and every time you see them win, it almost seems like it gets less and less possible for the Sens. But I really hope I just hope in 2 weeks we still got a good race.
Yeah, the Sens have the 4th hardest schedule in the NHL left for the remainder of the season. So... and they're going to have to be rolling with Sogard and Mandolese in net. It's going to be tough. They got to obviously be passing teams, so they're not just going to have to do well. They're going to have to do well enough that they do better than teams with possibly easier schedules than they have. So we'll see what ends up happening. The guys need to have better efforts than what it was on Monday, but it's nice now that we have Chychrun too. Long term for the future, and I'm just hoping that we can stay right in this dogfight, and if it comes down to the last few games of the year, then so be it. But that's where we wanted to be at the start of the year, so we're here.
Yeah, no, that's good, and even if you don't make playoffs, at least you can go into the summer knowing you got Jacob Chychrun in September. So
yeah, exactly. And Josh Norris coming back for a full season too. So lots to be optimistic about still for sure.
Yeah, I just want to run something by you. I saw today going through Twitter, Mark Mathot tweeted, "I would not trade Tim Stützle for Austin Matthews." What do you think about that?
Maybe he's considering the cap hit. That's my only
I don't think he's talking about money.
Maybe
I think he's talking about player for player.
Well, Mathot is definitely biased towards the Sens. He played for the Sens and he's a Sens analyst. But maybe he's making the argument that right now, like, Stützle's locked up for 8 years, 8 million per year, and he's 21 years old. Matthews, on the other hand, is older. He's got 1 more year left, and he's going to make way more money. So, like, maybe that's where he's coming from with his argument. If that's the case, then I see it. If we're basing it on talent alone, I'm not going to, at this point in their careers, I'm not taking to Stützle over 6'4" MVP Austin Matthews. So you can, but if we consider the contracts, then maybe there's an argument to be had. But yeah.
Yeah, to be fair, he did spell Austin and Matthews incorrect in his tweet, so that's can't be that accurate. I'm not trading Stützle for Matthews, no way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so some bad news for the Leafs this week. So they actually, Saturday night, suffered a 4-1 loss to Vancouver. The Canucks are not good. Can't be losing to the Canucks. Schen's back in Vancouver, and you want to win for him, and unfortunately that doesn't happen. And not only do you not win the game for Luke Schenn, Ryan O'Reilly breaks his finger from an Austin Matthews shot, so it's a guy that could definitely shoot the puck. Got him right in the finger, so that's not good, and he's out for 4 weeks. Had surgery on his finger to help repair it, so in 4 weeks, hopefully he's good to go for playoff time. And then in the same game, John Tavares got absolutely rocked by Tyler Myers. The one bright side of this, though, as soon as it happened, first thing actually, saw a little shove from William Nylander. You never see a little shove from William Nylander, so that was good. And then within 2 seconds of that, McCabe comes in from the point, drops his gloves, and just starts a fight with Myers. So Myers took him down. Obviously, he's a bigger guy, but I think that when you're Dubas up there in the press box watching the game, you're sitting there and you're like, okay, that's what I traded for. We're not going to get pushed around in playoffs. I don't know if you saw the other night, D'Angelo speared Corey Perry.
Yep.
All 5 guys on the ice went after D'Angelo. And I think that's kind of the mentality the Leafs have to have in the playoffs is you're going to hit Nylander, Tavares, Matthews, Marner, whoever you're going to hit, you're going to have to pay for it. Mm-hmm. So I liked seeing that from McCabe, and it was a clean hit, like a good body check. Tavares hit his head pretty hard on the ice, so he actually ended up taking the next game off as a precaution. But I was happy to see Jake McCabe step in for his captain.
He's a feisty guy, isn't he?
And he just looks so scary.
Yeah, brings the grit. So definitely more grit than Sandin. So, and that's, come playoff time when you're line matching, guys are going to hate going against McCabe.
Yeah, for sure. So he's we want to see more from that, and same with Luke Schenn. I mean, the Leafs got a few guys on D now that you wouldn't want to mess with if you're the other team. So they came away with the 4-1 loss, like I mentioned, to Vancouver, and then they finished up their 5-game road trip in New Jersey on the Tuesday night. So obviously you go into Jersey. They just got Timo Meier. It was actually Timo Meier's home debut. And you're going in there without John Tavares, without Ryan O'Reilly. So you're hoping you still got your superstars in Marner, Matthews, and Nylander. So you can't really be saying, oh, I don't know if we're going to be able to win this one in Jersey without those guys. So luckily they had a big performance, a goal from Matthews, Marner, and Bunting. The Leafs, it went back and forth in the game. The Leafs ended up going down in the third period, and then an unbelievable pass from David Camp to Michael Bunting to tie the game with, I think it was less than 5 minutes left. And then Austin Matthews gets a beautiful pass from William Nylander in the slot and rips it. I think it was under the arm of Vanacek, and the Leafs go up 4-3, and that's the way the game ended. So there were some angry Jersey fans, happy Leafs fans, because you're going in there without 2 of your better players, and you hopefully can squeak out a win. And they got a win, and New Jersey didn't get any points because it wasn't even an overtime win. So that was a good win for the Leafs. After a tough loss in Vancouver, you want to come back strong for your next game, and they had a good opponent. And they proved that they could compete without Ryan O'Reilly and their captain John Tavares. So that was a big win for the Leafs on Tuesday night in Jersey.
I was actually really impressed that they were able to shut down Timo Meier. The game before that, which was his first game, he scored a goal in. So he had already kind of gotten some shifts in with his new line mates and had some success. And yeah, Leafs shut him down, and they only gave up 3. It was in New Jersey too, so I thought that was an impressive win for them. And it sucks, obviously, like you lose O'Reilly for a few weeks, like you get a new toy, you want to play with it right away, kind of thing. But he's not missing any playoff time. He'll be back for that, healthy, ready to go. And yeah, all in all, it was a solid night. Matt Murray he was the guy who was in net for the game against Vancouver, and I feel like I think Samsonov's, if he hasn't already, I think he's taken this crease over, and I think like come playoff time, he is going to be the guy that you guys are rolling with.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. If it's the playoffs started tonight, Samsonov's in net for me, and it's his net until he loses it. I know Murray's been a good goalie in the past, and he's got that playoff experience, but I really think that it's got to come down to how you're playing in the moment and what your past few weeks have been before playoffs. So Samsonov has been pretty solid. He had a few rough games there and a little bit of a tough stretch, but he's bounced back, and he's in the net for me game 1 for sure.
Yeah. So I saw one of the saves Murray made too, and it's not like that loss on Saturday was Murray's fault. I mean, you only scored 1 goal, so you can't do too much as a goalie about that when your team's only getting you 1 goal. But I saw one save he made, and it was a gross save, like a 2-on-1, like slid across, pad save, like completely robbed someone. And so like he's still a good goalie. He just needs to be more consistent and get some reps in net. And like you said, right now Samsonov's kind of the guy who's going, and you just go with the hot hand come playoff time. So it's Samsonov for me in net as well.
Yeah, how was the performance from the Sens this week?
Oh, the vibes were immaculate heading into the Blackhawks game. Like, we played the Rangers on Friday night, I think it was, and Sens, it was Patrick Kane's debut for the Rangers. It was in New York at MSG, and the Sens battled that game. I mean, it wasn't easy for them. They were losing in the game. They ended up tying it up in the third, eventually to go on and take the lead. And like, if you remember the last time they were in MSG this year, that was the game where Brady Tkachuk put the entire Sens team on his back and scored like 2 goals, and he had the overtime winner, and he was like selling so hard. It was a good night all around. Like, Sens played pretty well. They got it done, and against a really good Rangers team who was like really hungry for a win that night because it was Patrick Kane's debut. And then Saturday night, back-to-back, they played Columbus, and Columbus just was awful. The Sens dominated them start to finish. Chychrun had a goal that night, his first as a Sen, and it was a snipe as well, too. So, like, just showing what he can bring so far to the lineup. And, like, even that first game against the Rangers, he was on a red-eye flight for that game, and he shows up at the rink like on a couple hours of sleep, and he still manages to play like a pretty solid defensive game against one of those like top teams, and he hasn't played in 3 weeks before then. So like, I was really impressed with him, and like, he might be our best defenseman now, to be honest. So
that goal was unreal.
Yeah.
Like, and you could see once he scored, he was so fired up. Like, it was almost like nothing against the Arizona Coyotes, but it was honestly, like, to him, it looked like that was the first like legit goal he scored.
Yeah, I'm so happy for him. Like, you can tell how happy he is that now he's like in a place where his family can watch him play hockey too. Like, you saw his grandpa in the stands eating an apple fritter and drinking Tim's coffee. Like, it's like, you can just see how happy he is now to be a Senator, and like it's looking like it was a great move by Pierre Dorion to go out and spend what we had to get that guy. So, yeah, like I said, he's looking to be like one of our best defensemen, and then eventually, though, like Monday rolls around, we kind of have a bit of a dud against the Blackhawks where we outshoot them and probably outplay them, but just give up some bad 2-on-1s and odd man rushes, and we can't be giving those up if we want to be a playoff team. Like, you got to play tighter. You got to find ways to win hockey games like 2-1 or like 1-0 even sometimes. So it's like you got to limit those chances we give up. And real quick, the worst thing about that Chicago loss, you know what it was?
I don't think there's anything worse than losing to Chicago. So
Yeah. Aside from losing to Chicago, is losing to Chicago when Nikita Zaitsev is on their D.
Oh, yeah, that's tough. Any points for Zaitsev?
I don't even want to talk about it. He didn't have any points, luckily, but my gosh, it was like he took a penalty. He did get on the score sheet. He took a penalty. So, but just sucks. Like, come on, you can't lose to Chicago. Like, it's funny. So Chicago's defense actually doesn't look that bad on paper, but their offense is like, I honestly think the Belleville Sens might have a better offense right now than what Chicago's putting out there. But their defense, it's not bad.
Yeah, like even before the trade deadline, I said this when I was at the game, the Leafs game when they played Chicago. It's, you see a name on their lineup and you're like, oh, who's that? And now it's even worse without Kane, without Domi. Like, there are so many randoms on that team that I've never heard of.
Yeah, like their offense is literally 4 lines of probably AHL caliber players, most of those guys. So it's Sens couldn't get her done that night and drop a crucial 2 points they could have gained on the competition. But now looking forward, it's just going to be try to win hockey games. Every game's a more important game from here on out, and that goes for the Leafs as well too. Like, you're wanting to play playoff style hockey, and the last thing you want to do going into playoffs is be on like a 3-game losing streak where you haven't played your best.
Yeah, the Leafs have to do the Sens a favor this coming weekend. So the next 2 games for the Leafs are Saturday night. They play the Edmonton Oilers, so they're going to try to shut down Connor McDavid, who's been on an absolute tear this whole season.
Good luck.
Yeah, no, I know. It's pretty much, hopefully you can shut the rest of the team down and win the game 5-4. McDavid will have 4 goals. And, yeah. But on Monday, March 13th, the Sabres and Leafs get together. So the Leafs need to win that game against the Sabres for the Sens.
Please do. Please do. We need it. So push the Sabres down as far as they can. Yeah, hopefully they can get that done.
Yeah, and like I said, for the playoff race, I want it to stay close. I don't want, like last year, I remember the team that didn't make it, the Islanders, they were like 16 points back or something from the last playoff spot. So I hope that it's close to the end. I hope game 80 and 81 and maybe even 82 means something for those teams. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the Leafs and the Sens down the stretch.
Yeah, fingers crossed. So we mentioned the tough strength of schedule that the Sens have coming up. This week, their next couple games are on the road against the Kraken on Thursday night. That's March the 9th. And then on the road against Vancouver for Saturday night hockey. That's going to be a late night, 10 p.m. start. And then they play back-to-back against Calgary on Sunday, the day after. So tough games, and then the one after that is on the road against Edmonton. And honestly, if I keep going, it honestly just keeps getting tougher. They got Colorado after that, then they got Toronto after that, then they got Pittsburgh and Boston. So, like, literally the last chance they had for an easy 2 points came on Monday night against Chicago. Every game from here on out is going to be a battle, and we'll see how the Sens deal with this adversity. Like, a problem that they've had all year is how consistent they've been. So I'm just hoping that we've gotten over that part, because it's been kind of like a month and a bit since we kind of had some issues with being consistent. Hopefully we're over that, and that we can just try to beat these good teams that are pretty much all playoff teams. So it'll be tough. We'll see how they do over the next couple weeks, but hopefully they stay right in that race, and then maybe hop some teams in the process, but at least be playing those meaningful games like at the very end of the year.
Yeah, definitely a tough schedule, but that's what's gonna make those younger guys better players, and hopefully they'll come together and string a few wins together.
Oh yeah, yep. So one thing I want to do before we end off, we were kind of chatting throughout the week, Kijo and I, about who we feel are the most exciting players right now to watch in hockey. Okay, and we got this idea because Craig Button put out a list of his top 5, and we kind of had some differences between our list and his. So I was wondering, do you have a top 5 right now for the most exciting players to watch in hockey?
So obviously McDavid's number 1, and nobody's close. Number 2 for me he's pretty high on my list, and he might be not as high on yours, or he might not even be on yours. I think he's on yours. But Nathan MacKinnon, just the way he flies up the ice, he's got a lethal shot, plays on obviously a very good Colorado team. So Nathan MacKinnon for me is number 2. And then I don't think this is Toronto bias, but Mitch Marner is a magician out there with the puck. He's a good skater. He's got unbelievable moves when he gets a breakaway, like we saw the other night with an awesome goal. And so I think Mitch Marner is number 3. Number 4, it's hard not to say Draisaitl, because he's got so many points, and I know he plays with McDavid, but he's good to watch too. To me, he's just not the most exciting to watch, because in my mind, he's not like the flashiest. And I don't know if that's unfair to say, because he gets a lot of points, like he does everything right. He doesn't like jump off the screen at you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
We're not talking the best, like, most point players here. We're talking the most exciting, get you like up out of your seat, on the edge of your seat, and up out of it too. So like that's what we're talking about, most exciting players.
Yeah, and then I think another one, because he's been doing it for so long, blasting 1-Ts, is Ovechkin. And I know you had him in your list, and honestly, I didn't even really think about it until we looked at the list there. But he's so exciting to watch. You like goals, you'll like to watch Alex Ovechkin. So he's got to be on that list. And number 5, you know what? So I'm going to go away from the NHL here.
All right, you're not stealing mine then. Okay.
No. I'm not. I'm going away from the NHL. And he's not even, this player is not even playing junior right now. She is actually a legend for Canada, and it's got to be Marie-Philippe Poulin. She's always scoring big goals for Canada, and watching her in the World Championships and the Olympics, I feel like every game I turn on and she's playing, she scores a big goal.
Yeah.
How can that not be exciting? So I think she's definitely got to be in my top 5, and she might even be higher than 5. I just think she's a great player and very exciting to watch.
Yeah, there's been so many gold medal games against USA where she's come up clutch with like 2 goals, like multiple times that's happened. So that's deserving and fitting too, because it was International Women's Day the other day too. So we get the appreciation for her in there as well too. So my list starts off obviously with McDavid, like you said. That's a no-brainer. This guy's just better than everyone on the planet right now at hockey, and if when he touches the puck, it's just immediate goal, excitement, chance, whatever it is. So McDavid's clearly number 1. I actually put Mitch Marner as number 2 on my list. So you had him as 3. I have him as 2 because of how just like there's been so many clips of Marner coming in where he's just got like the puck on a string, and then he'll just drop it off for somebody or something, and they have an empty net. Or just like his vision sometimes is just like next level. Like when I see Marner with the puck, I know he's creating plays out there. It gets me excited. So I have Marner at 2. I'm gonna modify my list a bit. I'm gonna put McKinnon at 3 because I do really like McKinnon. I was actually not going to include him at all in my list. And you're right. The way he skates and his shot and the way he can just put a team on his back, I'm going McKinnon for 3. This is where we start to have some differences, and I think you can make like the argument this is where a lot of people would start to have some differences too, is after the first top 3 there. But my next pick, it's close. These next 2 are close. I'm going to go Brady Tkachuk. Call me crazy, but he excites me as a hockey player. Like, you watch him. Did you see him the other night when he was challenging Stalock?
Yeah, I did.
Tell me that is not exciting to watch, all right? Tell me that's not exciting. So, and the way he carries himself, I love it. I'm putting Tkachuk as my 4. There's no other player that's like him. He's unique. He's exciting to watch. I'm putting him at 4 on this list. And my last one, this is tough. It's very tough because, like, now that I've added McKinnon, I'm either leaving out this guy or Ovechkin. So I think I'm going to leave out Ovechkin. Not to say he, like, isn't super exciting to watch still. I definitely have him in my top 10 of exciting players. Number 5, I'm going to go with Jack Hughes. I've seen, like, the kid's electric, and in overtime he's a beast too. He's had some big goals there, big sellies this year. He's got lots of points, able to make plays, young, dynamic. I see, like, him and Tim Stützle, I find, are a little bit similar in the way that they kind of play, but I'm going Jack Hughes for the last spot here. And I maybe give an honorable mention for sure to Ovechkin. I'd also throw in Erik Karlsson into that mix too this year. And Tarasenko.
Cale Makar, I think, as well.
Cale Makar could get an honorable mention. Yep. So, again, not necessarily the best players, all right? We're talking the most exciting. So that's it for Between the Dots today. Thanks for tuning in. We covered kind of what the Sens and the Leafs have looking forward, as well as kind of where they were this past week. And we'll keep our fingers crossed coming weeks that both our teams have good stretches leading into the playoffs.
Let's go. Let's keep this exciting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Alrighty. Thanks again. Make sure to like our videos, subscribe, and as always, go Sens, go.
Go Leafs, go, baby.